Hi everybody and welcome to this week's video about data validation. Data validation is all about entering the right data in the right way in the right cell. Data validation is very important when other users enter data in your Excel file, while you can force the users to enter data in a specific way. In this video I will show you all the different types of data validation, so please enjoy. Well, this video is all about data validation, and data validation can help you to enter the right type of data in a cell. Well, it can also help you to force the user to enter a valid value in a cell. But data validation can also do other things, which I'm gonna show you. Data validation can also show you a message which makes clear what type of data needs to be entered. It can show a warning when there is a not valid data was entered, and it's a great way when you make a Excel sheet which needs to be used by other users. And I will show you what types of data validation there are. Well, I can select the cell and I can click on my data tab in my ribbon and go to data validation. I click it and I get this menu. Well, standard setting for Excel is any value. This basically means any value can be typed, entered in this cell. Well, when we need to specify the type of data which can be entered, we can click this little arrow and we can choose some options for types of data. I can select, for example, a whole number. And this means the user can only enter a whole number, so no decimals. I can also specify a minimum or a maximum, or I have other options to specify which numbers can be entered in this cell. I can also choose for decimal. It's basically the same as a whole number, but the user is forced to enter also a decimal. I can show a list. I can show you this later in this video. I can force the user to enter a date, and I can also, like the whole number, I can force the user to enter a date between two dates, or I can select other options, all to force the user to enter a date in a specific range. I can also select a time. It works the same as a date. I can select text length, and this way I can force the user to enter a maximum or minimum amount of characters. And again, I have some other options to specify the amount of characters. I have also a custom validation. I will show you that later in my video, but these are the basic options you have to specify the type of data and force the user to enter a specific value. Well, the next thing I'm going to show you is how to use a named range in data validation. I have a list of names here, and I'm going to make a named range of this in a fast way, like I already explained in one of my previous videos. I can just select these 4 cells, go to my name box, and I can just type here first name. Press enter. So my named range is named first name, and when I want a list in this cell where I can click on a drop down and can select one of these names, I can just select this cell, go to my data tab, click data validation, select the list, and now I can type my source for my list, and I can just type =, first name. Press OK. Now I can just select my first name in a drop-down menu. Well, we can also use a function for data validation. Well, let's say this cell always contains a serial number which always starts with the letters BTR and always contains a total length of 8 characters. Well, I can use a function to validate the data in this cell. I can select the cell, go to my data tab in my ribbon and click data validation. I can select the custom option. And now Excel asks for a formula. Well, I can type here equal sign, all functions starts with an equal sign, and I have two requirements because it needs to start with BTR and it needs to have 8 characters. So I start my function with AND because I have two requirements. My first requirement is it needs to start with BTR. So the left function I use for this cell and the first 3 characters, close my function, needs to equal BTR. My second requirement is that it needs to have 8 characters. So I'm gonna add a requirement and it needs to be the len function, which determines the length of a cell, and the length of this cell needs to equal 8. I can close my function, I can press OK, and now we can test it. I can type BTR with 5 numbers behind it, press enter, and this is a valid value. I can type BRT with 5 numbers behind it, and Excel says this does not match the data validation restrictions. So you can see this works. I can only enter a serial number starting with BTR and 5 numbers behind it in this cell. So you can force users to type the right serial number in this cell. You can also set an input message for a cell. So for instance, I can select this cell, go to data validation and select the input message tab. I can select this box, show input message when cell is selected. So when I select this cell, my message is selected. I can type my title, information, for example, and I can type my message, enter the serial number. When I click OK and my cell is selected, you see the information here. When I select another cell, it's not visible. Just when I select the cell, my information comes here, enter the serial number. So you can inform your user what type of data is required in this cell. You can also set a warning when a value is not valid. It does not match the requirements for validation. And I can also show you with this cell, I can go to the data validation again. I have an error alert. I can type a title, for example, error. And my error message is, this is not a valid serial number. So I can click OK, and now I try to type something else which is not meets the requirements, press enter, and I get the error message, this is not a valid serial number. I can only retry or cancel, so I cannot just put this number in the cell. So I just type cancel, and I can show you also the other options. I click data validation and I have a stop, a warning, and an information. When I select stop, you just saw what happens. I cannot enter the value. When I click warning, I just get a warning. I can continue, I can enter this value, but I get a warning, it's not a valid serial number. Do you want to continue? So yes or no. I click no, but I can continue, and I click yes. I can also, select the information option, and I can just enter a value and I get the information. This is not a valid serial number. I can click OK and the value is entered, but it's only for information. So these are basically the options you have for data validation, and I think this is a great way when you design a sheet for other users. Well, thank you all for watching my video about data validation. I hope you learned some new things about data validation from this video, and if you liked the video, please consider subscribing to my channel to watch much more of my videos about Excel. And also please give the video a thumbs up. See you next time.